Welcome to the deep dive. Ready to go deep? We're diving into the world of money today. Got some fascinating stuff to dig into, including excerpts from Lyn Alden's book, Broken Money.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
It really gets into the history and the possible future of money. We're talking everything from ancient barter systems to, the rise of Bitcoin.
Yeah, it's wild to think about how money has evolved,
Absolutely. I mean, who knew? We'd be talking about digital coins on a deep dive about money.
And it's not just about economics either. We'll be touching on anthropology, technology, even a bit of philosophy.
Right. It's way more than just dollars and cents. By the end of this deep dive, you'll have a whole new perspective on how money works and how it impacts, well, everything.
Yeah, it's pretty much woven into every aspect of our lives.
Okay, so let's jump right in. One of the first things that struck me was the idea that early humans didn't even need formal money. They relied on gift giving and a kind of social credit.
Yeah, like a mental ledger almost of who did what for whom.
Makes sense when you think about it. Small, close-knit communities, everyone knows each other.
Exactly. You live in a tribe, 50 people maybe. You share resources, you do favors for each other. It works surprisingly well in that context.
I can see that. But things must get tricky when you start interacting with strangers, right, or larger groups.
Right, keeping track of favors in a city of millions. Forget about it.
Yeah, good point. So as societies grow, trade expands, there needs to be a more efficient way to exchange value.
Makes sense.
That's where money comes in.
And what's fascinating is this drive for efficient exchange pops up in some unexpected places too.
Oh, like where?
Well, you know how the source mentions the Stone of Jordan economy in Diablo 2.
Oh, yeah. That's a classic.
Millions of players organically started using this one specific item as currency.
Like a digital yap stone.
Kind of. It shows you how, even in virtual worlds, humans naturally gravitate towards a common standard of value.
Makes you think. So the Stone of Jordan, it had those key characteristics of money: scarcity, durability,
Portability, divisibility.
Yeah, all those things. Which brings us to commodity money. It's fascinating how many different things have been used as money throughout history. We're talking shells, furs, tobacco, even giant stone discs.
Oh yeah, the ray stones on the island of Yap.
Right. Seems crazy now, but...
Or when you think about it, they were scarce, really tough to obtain and transport. And, well, they were durable.
Definitely durable.
And recognizable, at least on Yap.
True. And there's that crazy story of David O'Keefe. He basically became the richest man on Yap by importing more ray stones using his more advanced technology.
Oh, yeah. What a story, right? Talk about disrupting a monetary system.
He found a way to increase the supply, and it really shook things up.
Shows you how innovation can change the rules of the game. And it highlights a crucial point: the scarcity of money. It's directly tied to its value.
Makes sense. And speaking of scarcity, gold eventually emerged as the dominant form of money. For centuries, what made it so special?
Gold has this unique combo of properties.
Yeah.
It's scarce, incredibly durable. I mean, it hardly corrodes at all. Highly divisible, and relatively portable for its value.
Right.
Alden actually highlights its stock-to-flow ratio.
Which is?
The existing supply is huge compared to the new gold mined each year.
So it's inherently scarce.
Yeah, that's a key factor.
Gold had a good run, but then things started to change. With the emergence of credit and banking.
Absolutely.
Suddenly transactions could happen much faster.
Yeah, even across vast distances.
A whole new ballgame.
It was revolutionary. You even see early examples like the Hawala system.
The what?
The Hawala system. It was an ancient network for transferring value across continents, centuries before modern banking.
Wow, really? That's fascinating.
Like an early version of a decentralized ledger almost.
I see the connection. So technology and finance have always been kind of intertwined. Checks, bills of exchange, and eventually fractional reserve banking.
Yeah, that's a big one.
But isn't that where some risks start to appear?
It's a bit of a trade-off, right? So fractional reserve banking, it lets banks lend more and stimulate economic activity. But it also has a vulnerability.
How so?
Well, they're lending out more money than they actually have in reserves. It creates this illusion of liquidity.
Ah, I see.
And that can backfire during panics and bank runs.
Right. So this fear of instability pushed the trend towards central banking in the 20th century.
Yeah, that was a major turning point.
The establishment of central banks, like the U.S. Federal Reserve.
Exactly.
But it seems like central banking is kind of a double-edged sword?
In what way?
Well, it can bring stability,
Yeah.
but it also concentrates a lot of power.
You're not wrong. They can stabilize things, provide liquidity during crises, manage inflation.
Bug.
But that power comes with risks, too. Potential for manipulation, unintended consequences.
History is full of examples.
Oh,
right?
plenty.
Yeah.
The source material actually points to the Bretton Woods system
Mm,
and the petrodollar arrangement as examples of how things can go wrong.
yeah, those are interesting examples.
Yeah. Like cautionary tales, almost.
So the Bretton Woods system, it was initially successful, right?
It was, for a while.
Mm.
But eventually, it crumbled under its own flaws.
And the petrodollar system?
Well, it's benefited the U.S., no doubt. But it's also contributed to a buildup of global debt, financial instability.
Right. This connects back to what Lyn Alden calls the financialization of everything.
Yeah, it's a key concept.
Easy money,
Uh-huh.
currency devaluation, they encourage speculation, right? And unwise investments.
Exactly.
This distorts markets, fuels inequality.
It creates this vicious cycle.
How so?
When money loses its value, people start looking for returns in riskier assets.
Okay.
That pushes up prices for real estate, stocks, even collectibles.
And who benefits from that?
The people who already own those assets.
Of course.
So it widens the wealth gap even
Yeah,
further.
It's like the system is rigged
Yeah.
in favor of those closest to the money printer.
You could say that.
So where does Bitcoin fit into all of this? It's described as stateless money, a radical departure from what we've been talking about.
It is. It represents a paradigm shift.
In what way?
Well, for starters, it's decentralized. It operates on a transparent ledger, publicly verifiable,
Okay.
and it has a fixed supply, capped at 21 million coins.
So no central bank, no government control.
Nope. It's money governed by mathematical principles. Code.
Sounds almost like science fiction. But this stateless nature, it's a big deal, right?
Huge.
What are the implications of a financial system built on Bitcoin?
Well, they're huge. It has the potential to disrupt the financial system in ways we're only beginning to grasp.
Like how?
One key aspect is it closes the speed gap.
Speed gap, yeah.
That speed gap that's existed between transactions and settlements.
Okay, I'm not sure I follow you.
So think about it. Before telecommunications, transactions and settlements happened at roughly the same speed.
Yeah.
You'd physically exchange
Mm.
gold or silver to complete a transaction. But with telegrams, then phones, then the internet, transactions could happen instantly.
Yeah, but settlements.
Settlements were stuck in the slower, old-fashioned systems.
Ah, so that created a bottleneck.
Exactly.
And that's where banks came in.
To fill the gap,
Right.
they became the intermediaries.
Facilitating fast transactions, but maintaining control over the settlement process.
Right.
Which gave them a lot of power.
A lot.
And allowed them to profit from that time delay.
And Bitcoin changes that with Bitcoin. Transactions and settlements happen almost simultaneously
Wow.
because transactions are recorded on a global decentralized ledger.
So no need for traditional intermediaries,
Are there fees?
potentially leveling the playing field. For individuals and businesses,
Worldwide.
it's a powerful idea. But what about the challenges with Bitcoin? It seems like there's always some new drama or controversy.
Well, no new technology comes without challenges.
Right?
Scalability,
Hmm.
energy consumption, privacy concerns.
Yeah, I've heard about those.
They're valid issues. But the Bitcoin community is actively working on them.
So even with these challenges, you see a potential future where Bitcoin, or something similar, plays a significant role.
I do.
What could that look like?
Imagine a world where financial transactions are more transparent,
Yeah.
less prone to censorship, accessible to anyone with an internet connection,
Okay.
less reliance on powerful institutions, more control for individuals.
That's the promise of a Bitcoin-powered world.
That's the promise.
But realistically, there would be challenges too, right?
Of course.
Volatility, regulatory uncertainty.
Potential for misuse.
Yeah.
The transition to any new monetary system
Yeah.
is never smooth.
Right.
There will be winners and losers.
So the important thing is to understand the
Yeah.
potential benefits and risks.
Exactly.
So we've gone from giant stone discs to digital coins. It's amazing how money has evolved, but can something like Bitcoin really handle the demands of a global economy?
That's the big
I
question.
mean, doesn't it have limitations?
It does. At its most basic level, Bitcoin can only process a certain number of transactions per second.
So how does it scale up? How does it go from a niche technology to something that could potentially handle trillions of dollars in transactions?
Well, think about it. Like the internet itself, you have different layers.
Yeah.
Working together,
Okay.
Bitcoin is developing. That same layered approach.
So at the bottom, you have the Bitcoin blockchain.
Right.
Incredibly secure,
Yeah.
but limited in how many transactions it can handle directly.
It's at the foundation of a building.
Yeah.
Strong, but limited in how much. You can build directly on top.
Okay, I get the analogy.
But then you have layers built on top,
Like what?
like the Lightning Network.
What's that?
It's a system that allows for much faster, cheaper transactions.
Interesting.
These transactions happen off-chain,
Off-chain.
but they can be settled on the Bitcoin blockchain when needed.
So like a separate, faster road for smaller transactions,
Yeah.
but with the security of the main Bitcoin blockchain
Yeah.
backing it up.
You got it.
Yeah.
And there are even more layers being developed. Side chains, state channels,
Yeah.
all sorts of innovations to increase the speed. And what Bitcoin can do, it's not just one thing, it's a whole ecosystem that keeps growing.
This is starting to sound less like a currency
Yeah.
and more like a whole new financial system, like a new operating system for money.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And just like you choose different apps in your phone, Bitcoin users will be able to choose different layers based on their needs. Maybe they need super high security. Maybe you need speed. Maybe they need more privacy. It's about options and control.
Oh, okay. I'm starting to see the potential here. But what about the environmental impact? I keep hearing about Bitcoin's energy consumption being a problem.
Well, it's true. Bitcoin mining uses a lot of energy to secure the network.
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Bitcoin is basically competing with the existing financial system, which also uses a massive amount of energy, often in ways that are less transparent.
So it's not just about the total energy used, but how that energy is used
Yeah.
and what you get in return.
Exactly. And Bitcoin mining actually incentivizes using renewable energy sources,
Really?
especially those that are geographically isolated or otherwise wasted.
Yes.
Miners want the cheapest energy possible, and that also means going green.
So Bitcoin could actually push innovation in the energy sector?
Possible.
Sounds strange, but I guess it makes sense.
And there's even the possibility of using Bitcoin mining to capture excess energy from grids, acting as a buffer between supply and demand,
Oh, wow.
which could make renewable energy more cost-effective and speed up its adoption.
The implications are huge, but let's be realistic. Governments aren't just going to sit back and watch this happen, are they?
Yeah, right. Governments will react. Lyn Alden's book actually talks about this, how they might try to control Bitcoin,
Like how?
banning exchanges,
Yeah.
restricting access, even launching their own
Oh.
digital currencies to compete.
So it's a real clash between the old way and this new technology. But like we said earlier, new technology is hard to stop.
And that's where Bitcoin's decentralized nature is its biggest strength. It's a global network with no single point of failure.
So no one government can shut it down.
Right.
It's like a digital hydra. Cut off one head, and two more grow back.
Exactly. It's about shifting power away from centralized institutions and back to individuals.
So after this deep dive into money, from yapstones to Bitcoin, where does this all lead? What are your final thoughts?
Well, the future of money is uncertain, of course, but understanding its past and the forces shaping it helps us navigate what's coming. Bitcoin, whether it succeeds or fails, has started a revolution. It's making us rethink money and who controls it. This conversation is only just beginning.
Well, that was quite a journey. We started with barter and ended up talking about a potential financial revolution. I'm feeling a bit overwhelmed, but also incredibly intrigued. Thanks for breaking it all down.
Definitely a lot to take in.
But that's what makes these deep dives so interesting. They spark curiosity and challenge what we think we know. And as Lyn Alden puts it, Bitcoin could be a sly roundabout way to reclaim individual sovereignty in our increasingly digital world.
A powerful idea.
It is. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. We'll catch you next time.